Hey there and welcome. I'm excited for you to be here today because today all about the gram, IG, or more formally known as Instagram, and whether or not it's going to be a good fit for your business. Because regardless if you are a product manufacturing company, a platform, a personality, or an entertainer, it's important to know who your demographic is and where they reside. So this is going to be one of several videos I'm going to make covering some of the most popular social media platforms out there and who lives on them. So hopefully you can make the right decisions about where you spend your time and efforts for your business. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into the presentation. All right, as the title says, it's all about the gram and is it right for your business? So we're going to cover several things today. We're going to cover what users are on this platform as far as monthly active users, age, gender, geography. We're going to cover the various media types because Instagram is a mixed media type platform. So which types of posts do the best? And we're going to cover that sort of information, as well as talk about some engagement. And finally, we'll cap with some of my own personal thoughts about where you should use Instagram in your efforts as a business. Let's first talk about monthly active users. So you can see this goes from January 2013 all the way to June 2018. Now, that data might seem a little bit dated, but it hasn't actually changed all that much. In 2020, they were closer to about 1.2 billion. Yes, with a B. That is a lot of individuals to be on that platform. And even more surprising is taking a look at the age and gender information. So you're going to find about 2/3 of 18 to 29-year-olds are in the US are on Instagram. And then about half of 30 to 49-year-olds, says, half of that 30 to 49 age bracket is millennials, as millennials, as of the recording of this video, go to about 39 years of age. So they're probably the largest majority in that age bracket, but that's huge reach. You can reach 2/3 of US adults between 18 to 29 using Instagram. So keep that in mind with your marketing strategy. I want you to kind of keep an active ticker in your head around some of this information, because we're painting a picture of the demographic as we move through this. Speaking of that, let's talk a little bit about gender. So you're going to find about 52% of the platform is male, where 48% is female, and non-binary information was not gathered during this study. So unfortunately, I'm not able to include that in this chart here, but that was still surprising information to me, because I figured, given a lot of the top most successful accounts being held by women-owned businesses, and frankly just very attractive women, the audience is going to be a bunch of men looking to view those profiles, like and comment, right? That's going to be the general attraction. It's like Sports Illustrated, right? Swimsuit edition. It's going to be a large male demographic that's going to gravitate towards that. That was surprising to me based on the sort of success of a lot of those female ran accounts. I figured it would be a larger female population. Even though it's still fairly split down the middle, it does have a male leaning. So now we have 2/3 of 18 to 29-year-olds, 52% male, 1.2 billion people. So we're keeping this ticker going. And then now we combine this with a bunch of other statistics, and we start to get a really good picture about who's on this platform. So we have 37% of US adults are on Instagram. So of all US adults, 37%. We have the men, women, we have age groups, white, black, Hispanic. We even have education in here. So high school, college graduate, and then even split out a little further into urban, suburban, and rural. So again, we see that 67% of 18 to 29-year-olds there, right? That's going to be a peak number. And then we have a bunch of information about the men, sort of racial demographic, which is interesting. So if you are a Hispanic targeting product, or a white youth product, or a black youth product, service or platform, you're going to start gaining information about where these individuals might lie. And this is all just numbers, which is great, right? Because sometimes it can be a little uncomfortable to talk about. It's, splitting people into race and into groups, into buckets, because, America being the melting pot that it is important, though, to understand what sectors, because you might be a targeted brand towards a particular sector. And so you want to know, where do your people live, right? Where do the people that you're trying to target with your message or product or entertainment live? And this is going to be great information to start making those decisions about where you want to spend your time. So keeping that demographic information in mind, let's take a look at the greater geography of where these individuals live, right? I mentioned 1.2-ish billion individuals globally. You're going to see this broken out into the top 5 locations across the globe. So 110 million of those individuals can be found in the US, which is crazy, right? That's not even the majority of the platform. The majority of the platform is going to be found, start combining Brazil with India, Russia, and part of my geography, but I believe that is the Philippines. Might be bad at geography. But we see the 59 million bringing up the rear on the 4th most populous area in the globe. So keep that in mind too. I think as Americans, what we oftentimes fall short of understanding with the internet in general is that the majority of the people might not be American that are on a platform. So keep that in mind, especially if you have an international goal or footprint with your product. Maybe you speak a secondary language. Maybe you speak a language that might, better accommodate these regions, laid out here. And again, I just picked the top 5 most populous. There's going to still be large presence in a lot of the major countries that you would think of, like the UK, like Japan. They also have good footprints. They made the top 10 list, but not the top 5 list, right? So keeping this in mind is like, okay, am I just focused on Americans, or can I reach a Russian population or a Brazilian population or an Indian population with my products? Do they have popularity or even a different use? There's always these crazy stories about a particular product might have one use in one country. So, for instance, maybe a squeegee, right? In the US, we would think windows, right? In other countries, they might use squeegees on their floors, right? And so now, can you change the marketing a little bit to accommodate other markets and thus gain greater reach with your product, right? A simple line or 2 change on a product posting really help that, because it reaches to different countries in different ways, right? So all something to keep in mind about where Instagram population lives across the globe. Shifting gears now, right? We have demographic information. We know who's on the platform and where they live. It's also going to be important as to understand what media is successful on the platform. And I want to start with this note, because there's all of this hearsay about an algorithm and the magic that occurs behind the scenes. To paraphrase what Instagram from themselves said in January of 2019, it simply has to do with users' behavior. Are they interacting most with videos? Are they interacting most with images or GIFs or text posts or a product company, or an attractive woman in a bikini versus maybe an attractive male in a swimsuit, right? It's what the user themselves is most interested in, is what they will continue to be fed. So it's actually boils down to specific users. This is going to become really important when taking a look at what sort of, strategy you're employing on your Instagram account. It's long been noted and touted that going niche or niche, depending on where you're from, is where you're going to find the most success. Because if I target, say, monster truck enthusiasts, I'm going to get a bunch of people who like digesting monster truck media are going to continue to see my posts. But if I have a very disjoint Instagram where I go from monster trucks to smoothies to sunglasses or travel blogs or whatever you want, a weird mix you can come up with, people aren't going to know what to expect from my account. They're not going to know, oh, I want to see more monster truck stuff, I'm going to go to this particular page. Instead, they're going to be confused. I go to this page because they had really good monster truck content, and all of a sudden I'm being fed things about smoothies, right? That creates this very disjoint experience for that user. So as a side note, before we jump into what's successful and what sort of posts are successful, the way Instagram's algorithm works is it simply feeds users what they want to see based on their previous browsing experience. So obviously brand new accounts are going to be a little harder to pinpoint than maybe somebody that's had their account for a while and continues to explore certain content. I kind of equate it to almost the Pandora effect, right? If you start a country music Pandora station and you don't give it any information, it'll kind of go wild, right? You won't know where to end up. But if you continue to like or thumbs up or thumbs down various songs on Pandora, it gets very specific to you, the user, around that specific station. And the same thing is true for any user's Instagram account. If they continually look at pictures of monster trucks and videos of monster trucks, maybe they look at more videos of monster trucks than pictures of monster trucks, then Instagram's algorithm is going to continue to feed them more videos of monster trucks, right? Keeping that in mind, let's move a little bit more into data. I know that was a long rant in and about that, but it's an important piece. It's not magic, right? It's simply tracking user behavior and directing people more of what they like. So keeping that in mind, there is about 4 different things that Instagram does well. Obviously, they're known for pictures, right? That's where they started. It was a great place to store pictures. Then they had videos less than a minute, and then they had IGTV rollout and really kind of put a lot of marketing efforts and dollars into that, trying to be sort of a maybe YouTube competitor. But those videos were greater than 1 minute. And then they rolled out Reels, which is now like a TikTok competitor. And these different media types have had different successes on the platform. It's a crazy competitive landscape today, and things are questionable, right? There's even stories, right? We didn't really mention stories. Stories are more interactive, 24-hour lifespan sort of view that IGers can give into their lives. They're meant to be quicker, fleeting type information. So we do want to keep that in mind. There is this sort of 5th category of stories. But I wanted to talk more about posts and what sort of success can be found in the various posts. And it's one thing to figure out what your demographic is interested in, right? Be it videos or pictures or reels. And it takes experimentation, right? Each and every, we'll even reverse just a little bit, bring this back to mind here. It takes experimentation. Monster truck lovers might really, really like the videos, but they might not like the pictures, right? Because maybe they're in it for the sound, right? It's uproarious, it's loud. People like monster trucks and the way they sound, so they want to watch videos with audio. So they're really into the IGTV. They're into the less than 1 minute. Maybe the monster truck did a backflip. Maybe even reels of monster trucks, more behind the scenes, what's going on. But maybe pictures fall flat. Maybe stories fall flat because people aren't in it for the personality. They're just in it to view the punch, if you will, of the noise and the uproariousness of monster trucks, right? So it does take each brand some experimentation. Obviously, things like videos tend to get a little bit more engagement than picture posts, but again, it depends on the niche, right? In some other categories, pictures do better than videos. So do keep that in mind. It's going to take some experimentation, but we can talk a little bit more. We had a little bit of a teaser already of time of day, right? Let's talk about engagement. How do you get the most engagement out of your Instagram? This is about when the most engagement occurs on the platform. So engagement is being measured as, you know, comments and likes and shares across the platform, and when are the most of those being done. And you can kind of see a trend here. The darker the square, the more activity. So Wednesdays between or around 11 and Fridays starting from like 10 to noon-ish tend to be the best times to post. And there's a bunch of different, I guess, theories and positions on frequency. Frequency tends to lean towards, you know, post daily if you can, but if you can't, try to post high quality content at least a couple times a week, right? Because you want it high quality because you want to embrace this engagement, right? You want it to be shared. You want it to be liked. You want it to be commented upon. And that engagement drives interest, right? So let's go back to the monster truck example. I'm a monster truck enthusiast. I see a video because it was posted at 11 o'clock on Wednesday, and I like it and I share it with my friends. So that early engagement starts to tell Instagram, okay, people are really liking this video. Let's show it to more people that like monster truck videos and more and more. And then it'll get to a position where it starts getting experimental. Like, oh man, if all of these people really like this monster truck video, maybe now people that like race cars or racing trucks or drag racing or NASCAR or car tuning, right? Or mechanics, right? So it starts like reaching further and further out based on that initial interactions with those. So if you're only going to produce a couple pieces of content a week for Instagram, my suggestion would be take a look at when most engagement happens and try to ride that train. And this does go by time zone. So if you're in Eastern time zone, it's around 11 Eastern versus 11 Central versus 11 Pacific. And again, I'm speaking specifically to the US, as I assume most of my audience is going to be US based. Actually, I don't assume. I've looked at the numbers. They're mostly US based. And so that would be a strategy I keep in mind. And now if I wanted to post daily, you still see this heat map being sometime between 10 and like noon, maybe 1 o'clock in a given time zone. So if you are posting multiple posts per day, maybe you start doing this at 10 p.m. or 10 a.m. Eastern time, and then work your way into 10 a.m. Central and then 10 a.m. Pacific, and then that might be a good cadence if you're going to do multiple posts. So say you're having a sale or something like that. I know we've leveraged this tactic when we ran a sale on some of our products. We tried to post in the peak engagement hours in each time zone. And that's how we were able to optimize engagement on advertisement posts or particular growth posts that we had in mind. So we talked about this in the Twitter video of a half-life of a Twitter post being about 24 minutes, which is crazy. Instagram is much longer. So in about 48 hours, you are going to reach half as many people as you will ever meet or reach. So in 96 hours, you're going to reach about 75% of the people you'll ever reach with that post. Now, this isn't to say that there is no value in a well-curated Instagram page, right? Because remember what I mentioned, it's all about being niche in your platform, right? So if I have monster trucks, I want to keep it focused on monster trucks. I don't want to have monster trucks and smoothies and bikinis and in sunglasses as part of my whole platform, unless maybe I'm Monster Energy drink or something like that. That sounds like an exact post Monster Energy drink would make. Having that niche is going to drive people to your profile. And then on your profile, they'll be able to see a well-curated profile of more, say, monster truck videos. Even though it might reach only 75% of individuals after 96 hours, that doesn't mean you don't want to continue to post quality content that can continue to be visited and then reshared. We like to call that evergreen content, right? Content that will continue to be valuable as you move into the future, but that tends to only be discoverable once you've drawn people to your profile. due to this half-life scenario. And then 24 hours for stories. That's not really a half-life, if you will, but stories last for 24 hours and can be saved in profiles with titles. So you've probably seen the little bubbles in somebody's profile where they can save multiple stories for revisiting. Maybe it was like my trip to the monster truck rally, and it was a day of you taking story videos. And now you can post that in its own sort of stories bucket to be revisited later. Keep that in mind around the duration or half-life in the case of stories of your posts on Instagram. So let's put a cap on this, right? Let's talk about, where does Instagram lie in a grander strategy? Well, as some people have probably made pretty evident to you, Instagram can be the product itself. So if you've gained notoriety, if you've gained a growth and a presence on the platform, and that's called increasing your personal brand, right? Say now you've got 1 million followers on Instagram, and you can use those followers to then now leverage your personal brand for a business. So be it if I'm interested in becoming a model, and I grow this following because I take a lot of really good photos of myself, and now I use that to position myself as a model for some big brands. Now you get brand deals. You can also use sort of affiliate marketing, and you can drive traffic towards, products or services that can make you money, right? So it can be sort of a top of the funnel as well as the bottom of the funnel sort of solution if you're talking about a sales funnel, right? So do keep that in mind. It is on top. It is one of the largest platforms of all the social media platforms. It sits in that very unique sort of sliding scale of being able to be the product itself, as well as drive, due to its discoverability, users to other things. So for instance, I like to use Instagram, one, because I just really like the platform. I like the different media types. I like stories. I like being able to create shareable bite-sized pieces of content that people can share with their friends very easily due to the ecosystem that Instagram has created. But I use Instagram more to drive traffic to my YouTube page. My YouTube page is sort of my pillar content, is my product, right? I'm not really selling anything. I don't really sell consultation or consultative services. I don't sell a product. I don't do any of that today. So Instagram is more of a top of the funnel approach for me, driving individuals to what my main product is, which is YouTube. And then it's continuing to reach, right? It's staying hungry as a platform. Reels is competing with TikTok. IGTV is starting to compete with YouTube. It's not at the same scale. Don't get me wrong. YouTube is still the dominant platform for videos, but it is a growing strength of the platform. The fact that it can now deliver strong video content in addition to picture-based content. Video is sort of that focus for Instagram as it's moving into the future. You can see that where it's doubling down on IGTV. It's doubling down on Reels. It's putting more features and functionality into that, more discoverability into that. And as you even scroll through the sort of discoverable page in Instagram, most of it's videos. A large portion of that's video. So it's getting indexed higher on searches. Users are showing Instagram that it likes video content, be it in short form or long form. But don't undercut pictures. Pictures still do really well for a lot of different niches out there. So depending on your niche, do some experimentation, look at other Instagram profiles that might be doing well in your space and see what they're positioning, right? Yes, videos are indexing really, really well compared to pictures, but not in every niche. So you do have to do your exploration, maybe a mixed media, like a 60-40 or a 70-30 video to pictures that makes sense for your particular audience. And for my content, I use a mixed media approach. I do a mix of infographics and videos and long form videos and short form videos. I don't really do any reels or stories on mine because my goal is to try to create evergreen content that can be shared. So you have to ask yourself what makes sense, what's doing well in your industry. Look and feel matter. That it's all about a statement I made prior, where having a well curated Instagram page still matters, right? Even though there's a half-life to a post, it's going to matter what your overall page looks like. Some of the most successful pages, you go and look at somebody's profile and the whole thing has a similar color tone, has a similar look and feel to it. It's not disjoint. It's creating consistency and a level of expectancy, right? I'm going to go to that platform and I know I'm going to see exactly the type of posts I want to see. And that creates comfort and loyalty, brand loyalty, even if it's personal brand loyalty, by having that unified look and feel. And I've mentioned this several times, pick your niche, right? Don't be disjoint. I'm not going to beat that one anymore. You hopefully gotten the point throughout this video. Pick your niche. It's where you're going to succeed. And then, yes, you can sell on Instagram. More and more features are coming out on Instagram for sort of direct to consumer capabilities. You have to have certain level of following on the platform to be able to leverage these. You do have to have business accounts, so on and so forth to make that happen. But Instagram is providing direct to consumer capabilities. But then also, Instagram can be the platform itself or the product itself where you talk to people about what it is you do, right? There's tons of success stories, but one comes to mind where a guy restores Jeeps. And during restoring those Jeeps, he just would post them up on Instagram. And if people were interested, he would say, DM me. And then people would DM him their interest in these Jeeps. And I believe the number was crazy. Something like he sold a $250,000 Jeep that he restored. Right. And these were older model Jeeps. And, it was a very niche market for collectors and stuff. But that's where the money is and that's where the interest is. So you can sell directly to individuals leveraging Instagram, but it does create a lot of flexibility. And that's why I have a lot of interest in the platform. I just like it. I like all of the things that Instagram are doing. It may not be the perfect fit for my brand, but it could be the perfect fit for your brand. So I always encourage you, do your research, really understand what individuals and companies and businesses and entertainers and are doing on Instagram and see what's successful. And it's really easy to see what's successful because you can go ahead and look at that follower count. You can look at their engagement, look at their posts, see if people are commenting and see, what they're saying. And you can use that to create and curate your own Instagram. Wow. That is a ton of information, and it was meant to be a little nerdy and getting in the weeds and getting in the numbers, but it matters, right? It matters to understand who lives on the platform, and if your product makes sense, or platform or entertainment target, who your audience is, right? Who is your audience? It matters to understand who lives on that platform and what's going to be successful, right? You don't want to go to a platform like Instagram where pictures and videos are the most viable and try to leverage text posts, even though some people have, right, and been successful. That's why experimentation is important. But it's by and large a platform meant for pictures and videos and giving people a glimpse into your life or producing this evergreen shareable content. So do your research. Understand who you are and who your product is targeting, and then take this information and start making decisions for yourself as to whether or not Instagram would be the best fit for your business. And of course, if you've enjoyed this video and want to see more like it, hit that subscribe button. It means a ton to me. Hit that like bell button, whatever it is it's called, and get alerted when I post my next video. But I do post videos every week where we're going to talk all about building businesses in the digital realm and lowering the barrier of entry to do so, leveraging some of my personal experience and failures, as well as my engineering brain, because I like to look at the numbers and figure out the most optimal path and thing to do based on a platform. So until next time, take it easy.